Hey, what's up, people? So in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing dollar CAD videos, and like I mentioned, uh, there is three markets, and since I'm splitting the markets in just three different videos, just to keep them all kind of together, as I know not everybody trades the same pairs that I trade. Some only just trade euro dollar, some just pound dollar, and others just dollar CAD. For me, I trade all three of them. Those are the only currencies that I keep an eye on. Um, I know I have dollar yen in here, but just ignore it. It's just something I look at from time to time. I don't actively trade it, and I don't really look at it as much, just because that's more for trading during Asia session. But yeah, I don't really do much with it. I have it there. Anyways, so this one's for dollar CAD, and we can go over the daily here real quick. And so let's go over this. So here, actually, let's start with the weekly. Now, the only thing I saw with the weekly with dollar CAD was that we came into a fair value gap in here very nicely, was respected, and then the market started kicking back up. And this is where we're at now. We took out sell side liquidity, and I have this looks like it wants to go higher, so we'll see what happens today. You can see not much here to look at on the daily, but as you know, it's pushing higher, right? And this was on last week on, actually this was yesterday. There was really nothing to do. I didn't do anything yesterday with it. I thought we were going to be able to get a move down and then go higher. And even today, since most the news was really based off Canada, and I pretty much was ready. So I don't have anything here on my 240-minute chart besides this fair value gap that the market took out buy side liquidity, came into this fair value gap in here. However, there was no setup in here at all, and this was on Monday, and so I didn't do anything with it. Let me reload my Ninja script. There you go. That way you guys can see the time slots. And so there's kind of no point in showing you the 60-minute, as there's really nothing. It's just a bunch of sideways movement. And so with news today, I thought it was going to go down and then push higher. And however, I am aware that all this needs to be rebalanced. And once again, right, this is with like what ICT says. It comes with experience and with watching the market. And so I think that's where sometimes I feel that I lack, but I also know and I sense and I feel that I'm headed towards the right direction in my development as a trader. And so it is what it is. I cannot predict as good as how ICT does it. And even then, sometimes he says, you know, he said it himself. He's honest as well, where he says, I don't know all the time. And so, you know, at this point, I really don't know either what's going to happen with dollar CAD. I had an opinion about it. My bias was to shoot for higher price, and I figured with news happening today, you can see here on the, let me go back. So this was on Monday. I didn't do anything, by the way. There's a bunch of choppiness and very sloppy, so I didn't do anything with it. And then today, here's with news coming out. It was perfect. It went down to take out what, sell side liquidity, and there was also, this was pretty much all a bunch of relative equal lows, so that was perfect as well. However, I did not expect the market to just continue going lower. And yeah, so that was that. And then guess what? Let me show you. Let me go to a 5-minute chart. This is a 5-minute chart. This is where I was waiting for the market here. And you can see there it did not take out the sell side liquidity here. And so that's why I don't consider this as a trade. Also, there wasn't really a buy side liquidity to break out from. And so it was just a move that this went down. It came back over here, it went up. There's a fair value gap. The market ignored that. It created a double bottom, went up into this fair value gap. So pretty much it's kind of like energy transferred over, and then it came and it dropped down. And then it created this fair value gap, but the market didn't get in there. Which the one, if you guys are not following, oops, let me just do that. I'm going to grab this tool right there. There's a fair value gap. Nothing happened. Again, market didn't even get up in there. It just continued lower. As I was kept watching this, I mean, once again, right, there was no red or orange news. So once again, right, we go back to my rules. if there is no red or orange news within that particular hour, hour and a half, etc., I'm just not going to do anything. And you can see the market continue lower, and although my bias was to go up, you can see the market did create the setup, and this is a beautiful setup. This is actually the type of setup I love to take. But what made me not get into this trade was that, once again, right, number one, we don't have big news. We don't have orange or red news, and because of that, that automatically disqualifies everything, right? Why? Because what news does is that news drives the algorithm in to push prices in the direction where they're supposed to go, or wherever the algo is trying to go to. And so, once again, for those of you that are just watching this, make sure you watch ICT Mentorship. In the last video, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's once you get to like the 40s or 41, he gives you like the full plan, and that's kind of where he sets the tone, where it's like, if you, and I mean, and he mentions this throughout the whole thing, like you just got to listen to what he says. It's just, obviously it's a lot of information, and it's hard to catch like the little key details that he talks about. But I mean, eventually you watch it many times and you'll kind of catch what he says. But I mean, he does talk about it, right? He talks about it during the news. That's when the market moves, because this is when he says that, imagine if you knew that you could just wake up and you already know at what time around the market's going to do something or it's going to move. That's when you can be, 30 minutes just doing your analysis, or 30 minutes to an hour doing your analysis, and then get ready for the market or for the news to come out. You see the market do what it's going to do, you're biased, blah, 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 you get in, or you don't do nothing, etc., etc. Hopefully that makes sense, and I don't lose you guys. But anyways, I digress. Going back to this, there was no news at the 10 a.m. Eastern time, so there's no reason for me to do anything here. Okay, and this is why, although this is a type of setup I love to see, I'm not going to take it, because there's just no news. And once again, due to just previous back testing and forward testing, it just doesn't fit the criteria here for me. And yeah, so anyways, you can see here, this was the setup and it failed. So there you go. You can save yourself from a loss, or even myself, just once again, right, because I've done my back testing here, I've done my forward testing. If you don't have red or orange news, right, and once again, this is for conservative traders. I know some of you are cowboys out there. You guys can go ahead and take this. There's nothing wrong. This is the setup. It's just, the issue is that there's no liquidity. So, at the same time, why bother? Just why bother, right? As you move towards the New York time zone, and into London close, and then you get into, which is right now, this would be New York PM session. I have noticed it does get harder. Now ICT does mention in some of his videos, but it's definitely, he doesn't really talk about it too much. Really, New York session and even just London session, which he mentions a little bit too, is really all you need. And so, and plus, all you need to know is when the big news are going to come out. Just watch out for like stuff like FOMC or non-farm payroll. Those are the days that you can also get ran over. The red and orange news I'm talking about, and I can give you an example here. Give me a moment. So I just wanted to pull up my forex.com calendar and just give an example. So these are typical normal news. Now tomorrow is Wednesday, and there is, like, for example, FOMC meetings. Anything FOMC, those are the ones that you definitely want to watch out for. You might as well just not do anything. Just look at the market and, take notes if you want. But I wouldn't advise it to trade during FOMC. Or, for example, let's look at August 5th, which you have non-farm payroll. Those are also days that you definitely want to not do anything. Just look at the market, especially if you're just beginning. I know ICT has talked about these days, and he doesn't do it. He mentions that if you have not placed a trade from Monday through Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, just don't do anything, right? I still like to trade Thursday or Friday because there's still news during those times, and they're not very big news. Like if you look at Thursday, for example, on the 18th, you've got Philly Fed and unemployment. So this is good. I love this. I love to see this orange, these orange news, and then 7 a.m. existing home sales. So that's perfect. 10 a.m. obviously is way too PM session for me. By the way, this is all PST here, so whatever is your time, it'll be, yeah, just convert it because it's Pacific time for me. But yeah, so that's just like another little tip there. Hopefully you guys get to see this. And then obviously this Friday, we got 5:30 a.m. core retail sales and retail sales. So if I don't get anything before 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. my time, if I don't see a trade here, and this happens after that 7 a.m., 10 a.m. Eastern, I'm just not going to do that. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoy this, and until next time. And like I said, I because of making these videos do take quite a bit into process and all that stuff, I will be kind of picking and choosing, probably do anywhere from two to three videos per week or so. But anyways, thank you guys for watching and enjoy.